The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie, 99X.
He was like a kid that was always alone. He was always bullied every day. He was just an outcast. Yeah. I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, so they're going to see someone like that, and they're going to target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it. And it's honestly kind of sad. Like, I don't want to say this is what provoked it, but you never know.
And you said he was a loner?
Yeah. I want to say he was a loner more because he was quiet, but like he was just bullied. Like he was bullied so much. He was just made fun of, I guess, for the way he dressed or his appearance.
How did he dress?
Like they were just saying jeans. He'd wear hunting outfits sometimes. He would always wear a mask. Even after COVID, he wore a mask.
You're on the Morning X. This is 99X. Barnes and Leslie. We're here with CK Redlinger, former SWAT, a counter sniper from right here in Atlanta. Worked in DeKalb County. How many years, CK?
I was in DeKalb County Police for 10 years.
10 years. And he's got a really cool book out right now.
Yeah, I guess it's a series of books. This one's called Georgia Fall. I guess taken right here in Atlanta. You can get it on Amazon. This sounds like something I need to get for my husband. A thrilling mashup of disaster fiction and a crime thriller. We should make a movie out of this, CK.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, there is a series. I grew up in Atlanta, just south of Atlanta and Morrow, and so like probably most authors, your stories are influenced by your background, and so I bring my Marine Corps background into it, my law enforcement, my overseas work with the government, and so on, and it all takes place after an EMT hits the United States. And
wow.
Oof. Well, that clip we just heard was a peer. It was two guys, but just one was talking. A peer of the shooter, the 20-year-old shooter from Pennsylvania. And it's the profile we hear often, CK, as someone who has guarded dignitaries overseas. I know you worked a lot in Jordan. Like when I guess American dignitaries will come over, you'd be assigned to their detail. When you hear the description of that guy, is that like textbook?
Yeah, it does sound very similar to what we've heard over the last decades, right? Of that loner personality that has been bullied and so on. I'm sure FBI Behavioral Sciences Unit will be involved in all of this, and we'll probably find that it lines up with a lot of what they believe these shooters tend to look like.
CK, it seems like a lot of people are pointing fingers at the Secret Service, but there's so many other people involved in this. So maybe you could kind of break it down for us.
Sure. So when you're protecting somebody, especially like a former president, you're executing what's called defense in depth, or there's other terminology, concentric rings, but it's essentially layered security. And so we kind of saw it all come in play. We saw the close protection agents in the suits there immediately dive on him. They didn't draw their weapons. That's because that's not their responsibility. Their responsibility is to build a bunker around the principal and then evacuate him as soon as possible. And you saw that part too. That
was interesting that they had hands on guns, but none, at least maybe one, but I didn't see them drawing them. So that's what you're trained to do.
Right. They're not drawing their weapons. They're basically building a bunker around the principal in case any more shots are taken, so that basically their bodies will absorb those shots instead of the principal. And then their job is to evacuate that principal. You saw the guys that look like SWAT officers. Those are counter assault team members. Their job is to basically get in the gunfight on any threats that might be within maybe 100 meters, 100 yards. The counter snipers, their job is to engage threats at long distance, even out to, say, 1,200 yards or so.
So this guy that was shooting from 130 yards away, had they not taken him out already, they would have taken that shot.
He could have been engaged by a number of people.
Okay.
He could have been engaged by the counter assault guys. He was obviously engaged by the counter sniper guys. And then there's undercover people that are in the crowd. There are patrol officers who are patrolling those outer perimeter areas, and they're all working together and hopefully communicating well. I don't know where the failure came and how that person scaled the building, but it will come to light, and then we'll know exactly.
Let's listen to this clip. This is the guy that's been everywhere, and it's troubling when you hear him describe it. Now, again, this is a dude talking to BBC and describing what he saw and what was happening. And there seem to be videos that I've seen all over that support what he's saying. But this is the guy from BBC. And by the way, why was there no drone? I don't understand why there was not a drone just in the vicinity to quickly see rooftops. That just seems so obvious to me. But that's a whole other question for someone else. But this is sensitive, by the way. This is a 2-minute clip. This is the guy who witnessed the guy getting up, the shooter getting on the building.
And watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service.
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? This is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
So, CK, as a former SWAT counter sniper guy, how could that be that this dude is yelling, and not just him, other people yelling at police, yelling at Secret Service? You guys have headsets on. How was there no action in minutes?
Yeah, I think, first of all, this guy was under tremendous stress. The guy you just heard talking, and he's probably not used to. He's not stress inoculated, I'm sure, like a lot of trained people are. And time slows down for you when you're under tremendous stress like that. And so I think his time is probably being stretched out a little bit.
Okay.
But nevertheless, if he was telling officers, I think those officers were probably scrambling on the ground to try to get eyes on and locate this threat. I know that roof is pitched. So more than likely, for the counter snipers who were 150 yards away, maybe they did not, again, like I said earlier, I think they were probably scanning different rooftops. And then when they heard the shots, now they knew the rooftop that it was actually occurring at. So I think it's easy to Monday morning quarterback all of these folks, but there was chaos going on. And I think everybody was trying to get eyes on the threat.
A drastic failure of security at a crazy level when you look at it, presented with that scene and with that building just right there. Someone will know eventually.
Yes.
There's so much going into it. I don't know. How long do you think it'll take before we know? Like a lot of these details that everyone's just really wanting to know.
Well, I would hope we would know within a matter of days.
You think? Okay.
24, 48, 72 hours. But I can't speak to.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who are worried about their jobs right now at a higher echelon.
Yeah. Well, CK, thank you for your expertise. We could talk to you for 3 hours, but until we get a lot of information, it's not going to matter. But you add just such an interesting insight from someone who has done that job before of counter sniper. So thank you very much.
We appreciate you taking callers, too.
Thank you. You guys stay safe.
Well, Barnes, Trump is saying now he is going to travel to the Republican National Convention as planned. He said he's just not going to let a shooter or a potential assassin change the scheduling for him or anything else.
Yeah, I saw the motorcade yesterday. He's already there. I mean, someone had said they thought he was hitting golf balls, which really surprises me. But
I didn't hear that part.
Okay, yeah, I'd heard someone speculating on that. It was hearsay, but it wouldn't surprise me. And President Biden spoke to the country last night. We'll leave you with a little bit of that.
From the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. So they created democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities. We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie, 99X.